Welcome back to Getting Real. I'm your host, Monick Halm, and on this show, we talk about the real deal, what it takes to create wealth and to live a life you love. And before we get going, I have a quick question for you. Do you have a business that looks successful on paper, but you're craving more truth, more freedom, and a life that actually feels good? If you're a high achieving woman who's tired of shrinking, tired of performing, and ready to lead with more authenticity and a whole lot more joy, then this episode is for you. Today's episode is one of my favorite interviews from the Seven Figure Lifestyle Summit. This is a series of interviews I'm sharing with you for 20 weeks featuring women who have created 7, 8, and 9 figure businesses and incredible lifestyles. And today's guest, Mona Das, who's a former Washington State Senator, entrepreneur, filmmaker, and founder of Moxie Money, is our guest. Mona is courageous, grounded, and she tells the kind of story that reminds you that you can't be it if you don't see it. So if you've been holding back, editing yourself, keeping yourself small, or waiting to feel ready, then this conversation is going to light you up. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Seven Figure Lifestyle Summit, where we are exploring how to build not just a seven-figure business, but lives that are aligned, joyful, and deeply authentic. And today's guest is the embodiment of courageous, conscious leadership. Mona Das is a visionary change maker, former Washington State Senator, successful entrepreneur, filmmaker, and founder of Moxie Money, a movement dedicated to empowering women and non-binary leaders to lead with authenticity, purpose, and boldness. Mona brings a wealth of lived experience from boardrooms to the Senate floor, and she's on a mission to help us all reclaim who we are so we can show up more powerfully and joyfully in the world. Mona, I am so excited to have you here. Welcome.
I'm so excited too. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I'm so psyched. Okay. So you have an incredible story. Your journey has spanned politics, business, and now transformational leadership, filmmaking too. So what inspired you to do this work?
I have a crazy story which I absolutely love sharing, and it starts in the shower, believe it or not. I
Okay.
don't know about you, but I do my best thinking in the shower. And one day I was visiting my baby brother and I got out of the shower, and this was, I don't know, 15, maybe 20 years ago now. And I said, I'm going to be a senator. And we both just laughed because I am so classically Indian. Half my family are doctors, the other half are engineers. So for me to say I was going to be a senator was absolutely preposterous. And they say that Oprah Winfrey says it's true that you do your best thinking in the shower because it's complete sensory deprivation. Usually you're in the shower by yourself, right? Your spouse isn't there, your partner isn't there, your kids aren't there, your animals aren't there, right? You're just by yourself and it's sound deprivation and it just allows your brain to just flow, which is why a lot of people do have their best thinking in the shower. And for me, this was a crazy dream. I mean, my brother and I just laughed because politics in my family, it wasn't a thing, right? Like we were only trained and talked about being two things. And so when I said this, it was this crazy idea that I had. And we all have these dreams. I call them BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. And it was that BHAG that I put on a shelf. I literally put it on a shelf and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's hilarious. And those shelves are filled with lots of ideas that we have, right? But this is the one, and you're shaking your head because this is the one that just kept coming back to me over and over again. And I would sometimes I'd bring it down, I'd dust it off. It still didn't make any sense. It was still laughable. I put it back on the shelf. And then one day, years later, I am walking down the street, and my dog Cleveland at the time had, believe it or not, more energy than me. And we're walking down the street. And if I would stop, Cleveland would bark and pull. Let's go. And so we're walking down the street. We're almost home. And I had just moved to Seattle and I literally saw a sign. It was a yard sign and it said Pramila Jayapal for Senate. And that was a life-changing moment for me because as soon as I saw that sign, I knew four things. I am standing in front of that sign and I knew that it was a woman. I knew she was Indian. I knew it said Senate. And most importantly, I knew if she could do it, I could do it. And this was that moment. And this is why I speak on every event that I can that I'm invited to, because I know you can't be it if you don't see it.
Yes.
And you and I both know, as very strong, powerful, successful women of color, we did not have role models for a long time. There were no women that ever looked like us in leadership positions ever
Yeah.
until Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama, Stacey Abrams. And these are current, recent role models.
Yeah.
And so for me, that moment I had, I'm staring at the sign.
Oops.
And that I saw my future. I saw this woman who I didn't know, and now I know, and we're close friends, and she's amazing. She's a congresswoman now. And that was the moment I knew that I could do it too. And that was really the first kernel of hope that I had, that this crazy dream of mine, I could pull off the shelf and make it a reality.
That's incredible. And I'm curious. So, okay. So you're like, that's insane. That's insane. People like me could never do this. And then you're like, your dog happens to stop in front of the sign, and you're looking at this woman that's, wow, she's a woman like me that's doing this. This is possible. Then what happens? Because, yeah, because that is in that moment,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, that's possible. And then something happened after that.
Yeah. I'll
You took
tell you,
action.
the story has the most crazy ending.
Okay.
So fast forward a couple of years, and November 9th, 2016 happens. You might not remember that day, but I remember that day. I think most of the
Very,
world remembers that
very
day.
early. Yes.
And I woke up, and all my friends, this is when Hillary Clinton lost the election, and all my friends are on the floor crying. They can't work, they can't sleep, they can't eat. And I can't believe we're having this conversation again, and this is our reality once again. I still can't believe it. But I will say that I woke up the next morning, and it's a funny thing. When I wake up, I roll out of bed on my side, like literally roll out. And that morning I woke up, and I kid you not, I felt it. I sat straight up in the bed. Whoop, and I thought, I'm gonna run.
Mm.
And I will tell you that I never sit up in bed like that. Still to this day, I don't sit up in bed like that. But there was something that literally pulled me up at the lever. Like that was, and I'm a very spiritual person. So like that was the hand of the universe literally saying, get your ass up
Time.
out of bed.
Yeah.
It's time. You're running. And I will tell you, fast forward a few years, I ran for office in 2018. Not only did I run, I flipped a seat,
Wow.
which is damn near impossible to flip a seat. I knocked on 8,000 doors personally to win. My campaign knocked on 30,000 doors. And here's the craziest part of the story. Not only did I run and win, knock on all these doors, build a whole campaign, raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. I get to Olympia, which is our state capital in Washington, and my chief of staff at the time and we had to pick an office. And because my last name starts with D, I'm the beginning of the alphabet. And so I got to choose first. Out of all the people that were new that year, I got to choose first. So we got to see all 6 offices that were available. And we picked the smallest office. And the reason is because our Capitol looks much like the DC Capitol, with the dome and the Senate on the left and the House on the right. It looks very similar. It's just a smaller version. And we knew that there were going to be super duper hard days. Like we knew there were going to be hard days. And this office, even though it was the smallest, had the perfect view of the dome from the office windows. And we knew that in those hard days, we could look at that dome and we could remember who brought us there and who we were fighting for. My district was so diverse. It was a total purple district at the time. It's now very blue, but there was 148 languages spoken in this district.
Wow.
So I knew there were little Monas. I'm an immigrant. My family came to America with $6 when I was 8 months old. And I knew that there were little Monas in that district that I would be fighting for every day, whose parents didn't have citizenship, who couldn't vote. So their voices needed to be represented by somebody like me that lived that, grew up it starting with $6 in this country, right? From $6 to senator. Ooh, that should be the title of the book.
No, that's a good one. You're like,
$6 to senator.
write that one down.
I like it. And so I knew on those hard days I wanted to see that dome. We take this office. Everyone's like, wow, I can't believe you picked the smallest office. We're like, yeah, whatever. We want to see the dome. So
Yep.
2 weeks later, this is the craziest part of the story. 2 weeks later, somebody comes into my office and they're like, oh my gosh, did you know that this was Pramila Jayapal's old office?
Oh, crazy.
Like, this is the part of the story that brings me to tears every time because you can't make this shit up, right? You can't plan this. There's no way that you can plan that.
Yeah.
And she was in the Senate, in the state Senate, and now obviously she's a congresswoman in DC, but we literally had her old office.
Wow.
And that to me is the universe providing for you better than you could have ever dreamed. And yes, there was a lot of hard work that went between me seeing the sign and me
That's
being
a
in
lot
her
of door knocking. That's
physical office.
yeah.
But that trajectory, you cannot plan that. You can't plan that.
Yeah. Oh,
So that's the crazy part of the
I
story.
like
I know, right?
that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Every time I tell it, whoever I'm telling it to is, I just got goosebumps. The hairs on my arms just
Yeah. I'm
raised.
like,
Yeah.
so exciting. Oh man, it's so beautiful. And one of the things that I know that you love to talk about is how to live and love your authentic self, which is
Yes.
what so many
Yes.
women deeply crave. So why do you think authenticity is so difficult to access and maintain, especially for high achieving women?
That's such a great question. And I will say that I think, and I won't speak for everybody because I can't, obviously, but I think many women, especially women of color, are raised to hide their authenticity. They are raised to hide who they are, what they really believe. And we are always encouraged to be smaller than we are.
Yeah.
And it was in grad school where I learned how to be my authentic self. And I will tell you what, once you are your true authentic self, you cannot stuff it back in a box. You can't. It's really hard to do that. And and for me, it was like little baby steps, right? I would do one thing, I would get bold, and then boom, something great would happen. I would get bolder and then it was just like, for me, it was like once I found that true authenticity, and I know this is why I won my campaign, is because I really was authentic. And those 8,000 doors I knocked, I didn't bullshit anyone. I literally belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball, had conversations with constituents, gave them my personal phone number, said, I'm going to go to Olympia and I'm going to fight for you. And I did. I passed 28 laws in 4 years.
Wow.
I did the impossible. Most people pass 0 to 1. Many of my colleagues don't pass any laws in a year.
Yeah.
And I passed 28 in 4 years. And the ones that I'm known for, and my MBA is in sustainable business. So I really deeply care about the environment and for future generations. And my most sort of famous bills, I'm known as the single-use plastics warrior, Washington State. So
Mhm.
I banned plastic bags, styrofoam, and all single-use plastics.
Mhm.
And so those are my environmental bills that I passed, which I'm super proud of. And the thing that's the coolest, and you'll love this, especially being in California, is many of my bills were the first in the nation, never passed before. And
So they were a
so
model for others.
they're a blueprint for other states. And California has passed parts of my legislation, Oregon, Texas, not Texas, probably not Texas, but I know New York and Illinois, like Hawaii, like parts of my bill have been passed in multiple states. And that really is legacy. And that is my legacy. And I'm so very proud of that. And I feel the 4 years that I spent in the Senate, which were grueling and difficult, especially as a woman of color. And as you might imagine, I got there and they tried to silence me instantly. Instantly, I was told, "Hey, by the way, it's customary for in your first year that you don't speak."
Mm.
That's what I was told. And I wasn't told that once, twice, 3 times. I was told that 5 times by 5 different dudes that look nothing like me. Yeah.
So how do you navigate that? Because you've led in spaces where your voice not only wasn't centered, wasn't encouraged, it was
It wasn't welcome.
discouraged.
It was literally like, shut the fuck up.
It was discouraged. Like your job is to sit right there, look pretty.
Yep.
And you're to be seen, not heard.
Yeah. We're so happy that we got a woman of color in the Senate, and now
So
please
now
don't
just
say
sit there
anything.
and be real quiet and don't cause
Yeah.
trouble. We'll tell you how to vote. How did you navigate that so you could lead from truth and share your voice and do the seeming impossible 27 bills in that 4 years?
Yeah.
And like, how do you now? Because that's a very specific context that most women will not, but a lot of women
Yeah.
do get told
Yes.
in
Yes.
very maybe not as like overtly as you do.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
told like this, you just shut up right now.
Yeah. Earn your dues, just listen and learn, all that crap. And the 140,000 constituents that I had in my district didn't expect me to go there and stay quiet. And anyone who knows me for more than 10 minutes is, you didn't do that, did you? And you want to know, I did. I didn't speak up at all. In fact, I said
Really?
I really didn't. And here's what's so interesting is I'm a talker. And so for the first time ever, I think I was forced to be a listener. And there were only 2 times I spoke up in caucus. I had a mortgage background and an environmental background. And so 2 times where I didn't hear that one perspective being shared that I thought was beneficial, that I actually spoke up. And I'll tell you what happened was, and this is what happens in general, right? Like we are pushed and pushed and pushed down. And then after session ended, I was at an event and they were like, "So how was session? How was it really?" And it was a room that was half the people that were there were folks of color. So I felt comfortable. And I was a baby legislator. Listen, I lived 48 years or whatever, and nobody had ever listened to me before. And I didn't know the things that I would say in public would end up in the newspaper. So I literally said, "Oh, I just didn't realize how racist, sexist, misogynistic, and full of hate it would be."
Oh,
I called my Senate,
that ended up in the paper.
300 of them. Yeah, it was in 300 newspapers because I called my Senate Democratic colleagues those things. And this is before the murder of George Floyd, before white folks had their awakening, before they realized that they were in the system of oppression and systemic racism, and before they had their awakening. And so that's why it was in 300 newspapers. And the thing that happened to the folks in Tennessee, happened to me way before that happened. I was like the OG of this because apparently no one had ever said this stuff out loud. And there were calls for me to be censured. Like it was nuts. But I'll tell you what happened, and you'll love this. People were scared of me after that.
She'll talk truth. Yeah.
I'm 5'1". You've never seen me in person. I'm little itty bitty Mona. And people were scared of me, like literally scared of me. And I'm told this by the lobby. So, oh, here comes Mona. Like watch what you say. And I'll tell you what happened. Before George Floyd's murder, we had diversity and equity inclusion training. It opened up conversations in the Senate that had never been done before, which were directly because of my comments. No one knew what institutional racism was. Nobody understood systemic oppression. Nobody understood their complicity in racism. And so it opened up conversations that had never happened before. And I'll tell you what happened. And I've been divorced. Like it was the loneliest time of my life because all of the people of color that supported me did this.
Yeah. We don't
What
know
are you
her.
doing? You said this shit out loud. You're not supposed to say it out loud. And so it was so lonely. They wanted me to apologize. They wanted me to do all kinds of things. And I didn't do it because I knew what I said was right. I knew what I said was right. And I will share the conclusion of this is one of the white folks that was the most upset about my comments after the murder of George Floyd, and he had his own awakening and he read the books, White Privilege and all that stuff. He came to me a few months after the murder of George Floyd and called me crying for 90 minutes on the phone. But then that's me pulling their water, right? And this is why folks of color get upset. It's like white people have their awakening and then they call us for emotional support. He wanted me to carry his water and let him apologize to me and give him, it was just like it was too much. And I'll tell you, and this is the chapter in the book too. I literally listened to him for 90 minutes. And then he said, Mona, what can I do? How can I fix this? What can I do? And I said, you can talk to your other white folks in the caucus. And he said, no, I can't do that. And that 90 minutes of conversation that I had with him was negated in 5 words.
Yeah.
Because they're not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
And hence, this is why we have what we have right now. Again, yeah, we can talk about that at another time. I know this isn't a political podcast, but you got a politician on the line, so you know what happens,
I
right?
know. I love hearing your point of view. And we talked before, and you were talking about how you were at this place right now. You're traveling the world,
Yeah.
more or less full time. You've reached this position where you don't have to work. Like work is all it's optional for you. You're well situated financially. You've got this thing. And this is a summit called Seven Figure Lifestyle.
Yeah.
You can reach an
Yes.
impact, freedom, and joy and
Yeah.
alignment. And I think part of that is being able to speak your truth.
Yes.
Oh, speak
Yes.
truth to power in uncomfortable situations. But tell me what is that? How would you define having a 7 figure lifestyle? And what's your definition of it? And how are you living that?
I think for me, freedom comes with authenticity. And the more authentic I am, the more authentic I have become, the more rewards and the better my life is because you're shedding the BS.
Yeah.
And you can get to the heart of the matter and you can really talk about what's important. And I think folks figured it out during COVID was like, what's really important is really not all this stuff.
Yeah.
You can actually live without the stuff, the social life, all of that stuff. And it can come back to the basics, which was like sourdough bread and family, right? Like it literally was those things.
For me, but yeah.
What's that?
I said beer bread for me. But
Oh, nice. I never actually made a sourdough bread, but so I do think for me, living life on your terms is about being authentic. And it's a journey. I'm not authentic, like my authenticity is still a journey. It's still something I work with. And I think that, especially for women, more importantly for women of color, we have always been taught to exactly what happened to me in the Senate. It's like, hey, glad you're here. Glad you flipped a seat. Thank goodness we can get the votes we need for whatever bills. But hey, by the way, we don't want you to talk for a year. And I do think that authenticity is the key. And then the more authentic that you can become and be honest with yourself. And now I'm a woman in my 50s. Like, I, if I'm not going to be honest with myself now, it's like, I just think that the older I've gotten, the more I don't care what other people
yeah,
think.
that's
And
the
that comes with
getting older.
age.
Yeah.
What's that?
So that's the beauty of getting older. You just give less and less fucks. Excuse my French, but yeah.
Yeah, fucks are given less. And I will say this, though, the young women that I've met in Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and these young girls have been raised by women like us. And I feel that they are in that already. They're expressing their gender expressions. I mean, they're like, they literally are being that way more authentic than we were, and that we were taught growing up. And so I love that. I love that for them. And I love that for women in humanity. And now we just need them all to vote.
For all women, when women are who they're like, each person is who they're born to be. I think it's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
You recently created, starred in, and executive produced a film called Badass Women Doing Kick-Ass Shit, which
I did.
I love. What inspired you to create this, and what message were you hoping to share with the world through this film?
So this movie is about 8 women of color who ran for office. 7 out of the 8 of the women won. I'm in the movie as well. So it was my idea. I produced it and I was in it as well. And the whole idea when I left the Senate is even though I made huge impact and arguably more impact than most people make in a lifetime, I wanted to make more. I wanted to, it wasn't enough. I made it to the Senate. And I was still silenced, right? And I wanted to create more Monas. Like, how do we get more women interested in running? And so that was the idea for the movie, was to show that leadership. If Pramila, I wanted to be the Pramila for thousands of other women.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing with the administration that's now back to where it was in 2016, that more women are running, more women of color running, because they see folks like me and Pramila and so many other countless women of color who ran in 2018 and won,
Yeah.
and subsequently have won. That for me, that's how I was going to do it, was this movie. And I'll tell you what, this we got a distribution deal last year, and so the movie actually came out on election day, November 5th last year. And of course, many of us thought the election was going to go a different way.
Yeah.
And so I was non-functional for 3 weeks. This was when I was non-functional, because I was like, I've done all the things. I got inspired, I ran, I won, I made a movie about it. My movie is out on election day. And I just even couldn't even promote it. I was so upset. And yeah, so the movie is to inspire the next generation of women. And it's not just for politics, because the movie is about women doing their thing,
Yeah.
standing up for their voice. So it really is an inspirational movie for any young woman in your life, or any woman in your life, frankly, because even at 50, I'm still creating change. It's for women who need a little oomph, a little inspiration to live their BHAG, whatever it is, right? Your
Yeah.
BHAG might not be running for office. Maybe it's helping women invest. Maybe it's helping women give impact. Whatever it is, we have the control and the power. And the only thing that is stopping us is our own mind. And I used to say, sky's the limit. And now I realize that we are the limit.
We limit ourselves.
We limit ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are our own limits. Yeah.
I know through your business, Moxie Money, you're helping women and non-binary leaders not just discover their voice, but amplify it. Maybe
Yeah.
past those limitations that we have on ourselves. So, what are some of the tools and practices you use to help them step into their bold, authentic leadership?
That's such a great question. I think so many women are on a journey, and they're on a spectrum of that journey. And so, what does that woman need? One of my exercises, I call it my 3 superpower exercises that I give, is I have people try to figure out what their superpowers are. Like, there's 3 things that I do that I'm better at than anyone I've ever met. And those are my superpowers. So I help women figure out what their superpowers are. And I also encourage women, because I am so bold and because I've done so many great things. I think women just need to be around that energy of somebody who's done it, and someone who can support them to do it and to make impact, whatever it is. To leave, my impact is my legacy of leaving this world a better place than when I found it. What are the ripple effects that have happened from people who have met me, or my legislation that's been passed through other states? I was so funny. I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and this woman was like aggressively opening plastic bags, and the comments were just going nuts. Like, why are you throwing those bags away? And people are like, in my state, we ban plastic bags. In my state, and I'm like, yep, yeah, thanks to
You're
me.
like, I did that.
I literally wanted to be like, yep, that was my bill.
You're welcome.
You're
Um,
welcome.
and I think I was doing the math. It's like, if you were silent for a year, you actually did 27 bills in 3 years.
Yeah. Even in my silence, I still passed 8 bills my first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't that You've prepared a special gift. You have a gift for our attendees. You want to share about that?
Yeah, so it's that exercise, the superpower exercises, and a couple of other exercises. It's called Unlock Your Limitless Potential.
Nice. All right. I'm excited about that. So you'll be able to click on the link to access it. Mona, I love you so much. That was
I love
an incredible
you.
conversation. I'm so inspired to go out. You're just so inspiring. So thank you for who you are in the world and what you do, for using your voice, helping others to do the same. Yeah, I hope you never sit down and shut up. I hope
Not likely.
yeah. So thank you again. You really reminded us that authenticity isn't a buzzword, it's the foundation of joy,
Yeah.
purpose, and sustainable success. Like that is, I think that for me, it's like having that seven-figure lifestyle, big part is to be like you unapologetically fully expressed. And
Yeah.
you're such a beautiful example of that. So
Yeah.
thank you. And
Yeah.
thanks to everyone for tuning in. Make sure you grab Mona's powerful gifts, find your superpowers, and break through your limitations. And join us for our next interview. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, when I tell you, Mona Das is the real deal and so fun. So if today's conversation hits you in the gut in the best way, if it reminded you to stop shrinking, to tell the truth, and to lead like you don't just admire it, apply it. Pick one bold move you're going to make this week, even if your voice shakes, even if your knees tremble. And the quick reminder, this interview is from the Seven Figure Lifestyle Summit. And I am sharing these conversations now as part of a 20-week series. We're going to keep going for quite a few more weeks. It's not too late to get all the interviews. If you want instant access to the full VIP library, plus the gifts that Mona and the other speakers have so generously provided, over $4,000 in value, you can grab the VIP All Access Pass for just $99 at www.tinyurl.com/VIP 7 figures. And if you love this episode, share it with a friend who needs that stop waiting, start living nudge. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next in the series. Bye-bye.